But baby, we're back. Welcome to the RC Underground Kickoff Show.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, it has been a hot minute. You know, you get after, I think, what did we do, like 17 episodes?
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
however. And you're like, oh, man, it became, I don't want to say it became daunting. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast, but we were cranking them out. And, we had some awesome guests. And now it's like, let's get after it. I'm itching. I'm ready to get going again and squeezing the triggers. So and have this format and talk. It's going to be awesome. So looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah. So our actual show, the RC Underground Radio Show, is really going to expand this year. You know, we're going to have more guests. We're going to have more topics. We're going to really cover the whole world of RC. We've been asked for that. We've asked for it. So that's what we're going to do. But tonight, we got asked by the RC Underground Speedway to host this event. And it's basically to introduce all the races that are going to take place there. Remember, like, when we were kids and, like, there would be that day that they would have, like, the kickoff of all the new cartoons? Kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Dave, you're like 40 years older than me, so no. I was watching all the rerun cartoons, buddy. They stopped making those when I was young, so.
Yeah.
But
so
sure, I'll go with it.
Yeah, just go with it, right? Just go with it. It's in the script. Mm-hmm. We got to go with it. I'll give you a quick little rundown of anybody who comes across this and goes, RC Underground, what is that? It's literally a 5th mile in scale, 1/18 scale track. It's in the basement of a home, limited seating. So, last year our max was 20. We know we've got more drivers coming, so we bumped it up to 26.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting down with some other guys, and gals and kids, and racing against some new competitors. I mean, obviously you've got your OGs that are always going to be there. But I think it's going to be really awesome to have just some fresh blood, some new racers getting into it. It's going to be a great time. And 26 spots, I mean, it's going to be a full day of racing. There's no doubt about it with that many potential racers showing up at the Underground.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that competition level goes high, and I'm hoping that track record gets smashed, because then the dog's he's gonna board a plane, and he's gonna come back and defend his turf. So that, yeah, I think we'll see another surprise arrival sometime during the year. We've made some schedule adjustments just to make sure it's a little warmer weather, a little better traveling weather, and so there won't be any excuses. He'll have to make the run.
Yep, absolutely.
So people will be able to check out RC Underground on Facebook for all the detailed rules and so forth. It's pretty simple, right, Ryan? It's run one RC parts. There's a couple of little things, I guess you call them aftermarket, like basically just the bumper. But we do allow ingenuity. What are we talking? Like, if you do something with a coilover spring, some guys tried coilovers last year. Okay, what does that cost? It's not like it's NASCAR where it costs you $500,000 to make some kind of change.
Yeah, I think those types of ingenuity, that we allow are good. Helping the car rotate through the center, free it up, tighten it up. However, I think if you do it in the right way and still utilize one RC parts, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of places, you could overrule, right, a club, and then you take away. I mean, as long as the ingenuity isn't expensive, why not? Let people continue to perfect these cars.
Right. Here's the thing, when it comes to that type of, again, we'll call it ingenuity, it has to be easily changed, right? Because there are some tracks that, like, for instance, if you're running a coilover setup on the front of the car, some tracks don't allow that. And it's an easy enough transition to make. The big thing that I think that's really important to, the sport and this hobby and these toy cars that we play with is that we're utilizing one RC parts. We're not utilizing some aftermarket stuff, with the exception of, the bumpers.
So just a couple of things for guys that might be building cars. Again, the rules will be out on RC Underground page. But just some of the things that we will be looking at in tech, we'll be watching, obviously, that you're running the 8700 motor, that it's stock. The pinion hasn't been taken off and changed. We have a 9400 V Max, which everybody says, wow, I sure wish I had a motor that was 9,400. So we haven't teched anything that's been that high yet, but that's pretty much a standard around the country and that's where that rule came from. Of course, you got to do the 10T pinion. Batteries used in competition have to be 300 milliamp. They don't have to be a specific brand. They just got to be 2-cell, 300s. We will be checking, though, the front suspension for those aftermarket A-arms, and nothing against the company that builds them. They're amazing.
I did look at them from an ingenuity standpoint, and they're pretty trick. They're pretty trick.
So great. So general format, people are like, Aaron Stribble kind of gave us the greatest compliment one day. He said, when I came to the underground, the reason I enjoyed it was a show. It wasn't just a race. And I'm like, boy, okay, now I got to really build on that, right? That was, like I said, that was a very high compliment from one race promoter to another. So the pit spaces are first come, first serve. We should have enough. We'll always try to accommodate, but it's really important that people reach out and say, hey, I'm coming, because it is first come, first serve. And if we run out, well, have to figure it out, or people have to, in the wintertime, they'll have to be really cold in the garage. So we'll make it work. We'll do everything we can. Yeah. Why is it so different? Why does Aaron say it's different? Well, we don't just seat the mains. We don't just take in everybody's entry and then seat the mains. Probably the first thing that makes it different is when you come through the door, you don't have to reach in your wallet. This is for fun. And we want to start it from point one for fun. I've been asked, why don't you charge? You should charge. We may do a donation box. All right. I might give in a little bit. All that money will just go to trophies and giveaways and prices back to the drivers. Not going in my pocket. I don't want it. So we'll see. We'll see if that makes it onto the table. And if not, a dime goes in there. Not a problem at all. But because we just want people to come, enjoy the hobby, have something fun to do in the wintertime, and get together with a bunch of great people who enjoy this hobby. That's just what that's about. So we have a bucket full of balls, lottery balls, and you pick them out, and whatever number you pick, that is your qualifying position. So let's get 25 guys. We got 25 in the bucket. Whatever number you pull, that's when you're going to qualify. However, we got a little change this year, Ryan. And this is feedback from drivers. So we had a driver that said, hey, when you pull the number one, that's really a deficit, because you not only have to qualify first, it really has an impact on where you start in one of your heat races. So thought about it, and so we're going to change it. Now it's called the ace. And, when you're playing poker, ace can be almost whatever you want it to be. It can be a 1, it can be an 11, it can be, right? It can be a jack, it can be whatever. Kind of the same thing. So one thing that happens after everybody picks their lottery ball and then they know when their number is, we have you come up to the board, and for the first round of heats, you pick your heat. You pick where you're going to race. The computer doesn't generate it.
And so you're not always going to be driving with guys in your caliber of driving ability. You're going to be driving with guys that are better than you. And we've talked about this before. That makes an average driver better. It gives them the ability to run out there on the track and see exactly, hey, how's this guy's line, right? Or, oh, I see what he's doing, because you're more engaged in it. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the underground, is that this format exactly, and picking your heats, and in a lot of ways too, you have the ability to be like, oh, I want that guy, right? Like if he's the top dog, that's the beauty of it, is you can run against somebody who's really, really good, or you can run against somebody who's, who you think you have a really good chance of beating, but you get the challenge. You get that challenge, and that really is the neatest part. And then the uncertainty, right?
Right. And it actually still does the same thing in the end. It still helps to seed and feed the mains, right? The other thing that's really fun is everybody watches qualifying. Especially, I think that's going to happen a lot in the first couple races of the year when we have some new guys. So the guys that have been at the underground before, they want to see who these new guys are that are in their heat race, right? Like, who is this guy? What can he do? And vice versa. So everybody really wants to know what their competition is going to be. So it's really fun because nobody's really back in their pit stall watching. Everybody's out there, and everybody actually like cheers for each other too, right? Like, come on, put another, come on, you got it, you got it, you can get there, you can knock a 10th, let's go, So I think, yeah, pull the trigger. So it makes qualifying as exciting as any other of the events, and qualifying is important because you get extra points for winning the pole. And I can tell you firsthand that it does not guarantee you in the main event. I was fast qualifier at a race, and I did not make it to the final 5. That's tough. It's still tough to do, even with a little point advantage going into the heat race.
Because it was predicated on those heats that were selected, right? So a couple of the top good guys get up there with you, and look out, Charlie. And I know that's exactly what you dealt with, but again, that's the fun of it all, is the uncertainty, the unknowing. You think you're the slowest car out there, but depending on what heat, you got a great chance of winning, and that is the best part of that whole format.
Yeah. And what I like too, that it's kind of manifests itself, is that the action starts like right out of the box. As soon as you're pulling your number out of the bucket, the strategy, people's heads are turning, they're thinking. You see a lot of smoke coming out of everybody's ears. They're trying to already, the competition level kicks to the ceiling as soon as we get going. So I kind of preface that the 1 now will be the ace. So what does that mean? So what that means is at any time you can throw up that ace. So hypothetically, there's 20 guys there, and all of a sudden the numbers are being pulled and heats are being seeded, and you're like, that's the heat I really want to be in. I want to race that guy and show him what I got. You can say, let's say Ryan has the 1. He can go up, and I say, okay, who's my 10? You can go, nope, I'm using my ace. You can step in at any time during that qualifying pick to go, nope, I'm using my ace. I want to go next. And you're free to do that at any time throughout that picking process.
We got to put like a little burr on that ball, or I'm going to have to, so I know which one when I go down in there. See, ingenuity.
So every single race, we do not run for points, for like national points or a series championship. Every race is a big race. So if every race is a big race, it has to have its own name. It has to have its own theme. And that's what we have for you here for the rest of our show. We're going to go through each one of these races and kind of give our little feeling of each of them as we go through them. Is going to be the Midwestern 400. You ran the 200 last year. Nick Ciccone was the winner. He beat Aaron Streblow by 11.
I'm sweating. I am absolutely sweating now. 400 laps. This is going to be a tricky one. And okay, all right, Dave, you can talk about this all you want, but I'm going to tell you what, guys. The Midwestern. Again, I was in diapers when the Midwestern started, and it has been one of the longest running races out there. Not really anything that's been nationally televised or anything like that. I mean, but it has been mega in really in the community for oodles of years, and Dave can give you more background. But this race is tricky. There's so much strategy involved. You can't make 400 laps on one battery. You got pit stops, which I'm hoping you've changed up a little bit here, Dave. But this race is rowdy, and to be the first one out of the gate, like, woo, bring your A game, boys. And I think too, don't get discouraged though, because strategy will play into it, and if you can think that way and utilize that strategy, I mean, again, it can be your first time at the track. You have a great shot of taking home the trophy for this one, because it's an awesome race.
Yeah, so a little background. Started in 1979. Nick Ciccone, who won it last year, won it in 1979. That's the span, and this guy just knows the secret sauce. He's definitely going to be one of the favorites going in. So here's how it's going to break down. We will do 60-second qualifying, so you get 1 minute out on the track. Everybody qualifies, as we talked about earlier. Your best lap stands as official. Then we'll run dual round heats. First round heats are determined by you, the racer. You decide who you want to race with. Then second round, we separate the winners from the first round. They do not race each other, and you do not race the same people twice. So whoever you ran in that first round, we figure it out that you don't run against them in the second round. That way, pretty much everybody's raced everybody after those 2 rounds. Then we also have the pole dash. The pole dash is based on who the top 2 guys who had the most points from both of the heat races, as well as that little bonus that comes out of qualifying. Qualifying becomes very important because that is the tiebreaker. We have sometimes had 4 and 5 tiebreakers, and it goes back to qualifying. So qualifying is very, very important. Then we have the 100-lap seeds, alphabet soup, just like a normal dirt track would do, USAC, any of those. The lowest point guys are going to go together. One car, in some heats, one car advances. In some other heats, 2 or more cars advance. And as the racing goes on, we'll be able to explain that more. We call those the eliminators. So by the end of the day, between 400 laps of the Midwestern and say you're back there in like a D or E main, depending on how many drivers show up, you have the opportunity, Ryan, of running like 900 laps. There'll be 2 competition yellows. We haven't determined exactly when those will be. We'll have that posted as we get closer to the Midwestern. A little change this year. You cannot leave pit lane. Everything you want to do to that car during those competition yellows, you have to bring to pit lane. So tires, tire goo, your awesome sauce, your batteries, all of that. You have
everything right by the driver's stand. Everything right by the driver's stand.
Right in your pit area. Yep. Okay. Nobody can assist you unless we have a driver who needs assistance.
Yeah.
Somebody in a wheelchair has limited access. Obviously, we'll make accommodations for that. But nobody else can run to your pit and get something. You can't run to your pit and get something. You have to plan that out and have it ready. It'll basically be about a 5-minute stop. And in that time frame, what'll happen is the field is frozen. All right. However, there's a little twist to the strategy. You said it yourself. You cannot obviously go 400 laps on a set of batteries, but could you go more than 200? I think so. So there can be a strategy of, do you do both stops and have really strong batteries, or do you only do one stop? If you, let's say in the first run, you decide not to pit at the first mandatory or the first stop. You only have to mandatorily stop once in the race. That's all you have to do. But there's 2 there if you need it or you want it. Now, if you don't pit in the first one, let's say, for example, and let's say you were a lap down. You were 1 lap down to the leaders. You now gain that lap back. All right. You can't jump position, but you can gain distance. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Ryan? Okay. So let me open it up to you. Let's talk a little bit about the strategy of each of these races. So everybody listening knows the layout. Drivers are probably like, what? I never did anything like this before. Hopefully they're getting excited about it, but you have done it before. You actually led this race early on. What was your strategy, and how does that change now that the laps are going to be twice as long as they were before?
Well, I think there's something you need to consider, and that is the actual lap times. You're moving around that track pretty quick. There are ways that you can gain laps back, depending on what line you run, and you can make up ground. I'll just be completely honest. This initial format that you're talking about and the 2 competition stops, I'm going to take them both. I'm going to put a battery in. There is opportunity at the underground when you're running a race like this to be able to make up laps. If you do, in fact, go down, it happens. And there's always, again, they're 1/18 scale cars. There's always a little bit of tangling that can happen, or maybe a guy traction rolls. So I'm going to err on that. I mean, just my gut tells me I should err on that side of things. I may be the one traction rolling. I may be the one, stuffing it in the fence. But at the end of the day, I want the power. I'm going to take the 2 batteries and let her eat.
You bring up a really good point on that, and it actually goes to last year's race with Aaron Streblo, right? At one point, Aaron was 9 laps down, running at about third. It was his first time at the track, but being in that race and that being so long, he finally really got in the groove, right? And he made that time up because you're running 2.4, 2.5 laps, right? So a lot happens in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And the thing is too, I'll give some guys some tips. Our track, I'll call it rubbers up over a period, the day. So there's a lot, it gets stickier. I don't know if it's heat that builds up or we get enough traction, the awesome sauce down on the track, but you don't need a whole lot of that. In fact, you're kind of praying towards the end of the day that your car frees up a little bit, because in some cases it gets a little too tight or you get a push in it. But so I would keep that in the back of your mind too, and you'll have plenty of time during the day. But you can make up the laps so quick, Dave. It's learning the track. But the one good thing about this is we've got guys that have run this in the past. Aaron, myself, you, Nick Ciccone, George, Steve, Jake, all those guys. We're going to help you. We're going to help you, give you our thoughts, because we want everybody to run and everybody to have a good time. So you'll be able to see what the track's doing throughout the day, but it will change. And it will be interesting also to see after 400 laps what happens with those tires. That's going to be my biggest thing, because you're pushing them hard at 2.5-second laps, right? And if you're sending it, are they going to glaze up? What's going to happen to those tires after that amount of time?
We just thought, hey, Daytona does it, right? One of their biggest races of the year. This has always been the Fall Classic. We ran it in May last year. Just didn't belong there. It's the Fall Classic. So going into September, it was only right to put it right back where it belongs. 400 laps right out of the gate. People better come with their A game. And then they can continue with that through the rest of the season. So let's look at race number 2. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Race number 2, the Kenman Classic. I would say this is probably a race that's a little near and dear to your heart, Mr. Ratzlaff.
Ken was a very special man within the RC community. All I've heard is stories, but they were stories of, hey, this guy would do anything to help anyone. He really tried to get everybody involved in it and have a good time and really promote the fellowship. And he'd fix anybody's car, and he was just a kind of a pioneer that way. It's for that reason that why the race is special to me. Just knowing that it's honoring Dave's dad, and I was blessed to win it. Got my Kenman Classic trophy right here. So this one stays close to me, buddy, and it's just it's a hell of a race. It means a lot to so many people that knew your dad. Again, I never knew him. I just get his offspring. That's you. But if he's anything like you, he was an awesome man, and just a very, very cool race. And it's for those of us guys that have raced it before, and even the guys that were blessed to know Ken, it's a special race. So consider it one of those races where we really focus on the drivers, maintaining good fellowship, having a good time, helping one another, just being good brothers, and friends in all this. That's what this race is about. This is about just being a damn good human, respecting one another, racing the way it should be done.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for all that, Ryan. And I think it was Nick Ciccone kind of paid you what I feel is a high compliment. Ryan is like the Kenman now. Like, you're out there helping people and making sure everybody's running and making a good time and getting to know everybody. He's like, yeah, he's just like your dad, and you've helped Nick. I mean, Nick wouldn't be where he's at. He's the first one to say Nick wouldn't be where he's at without your help. So
Yeah.
it's cool that that spirit is still alive. It's not the longest race. It's ironically, it's actually the shortest race of the year. It's a 105 lap race, and the reason it is because my dad's number always racing was number 5, and so that's why it's 105. But we pull out all the stops for that one, right? We really try to make it a spectacle. We'll have some great prizes that we get from companies. I mean, once we've talked to all the different RC companies and they know what the theme of the race is and what it's about, they're like, oh yeah, definitely this is coming and this is coming and this is coming. So we'll have some great giveaways for everybody there, and you nailed it. It's really a day of fellowship and a race to remind all of us why we do this.
Yeah, I'm super
right.
excited for that one. I'd like. I'll be honest. I'd like to take the other piece of hardware home for that one. That is the one that means the most to me. So
Let's see if it happens. All right,
you bet.
moving on. Race number 3, the Bullring Stampede. Like we said, we give all these races a theme, right? So at the end of the day, if you don't want to wear a cowboy hat, and who else knows what else, we're not going to make anybody wear chaps. Don't worry about that. But if you don't,
If you want to, go for it.
so yeah, so race number 3, the Bull Ring Stampede, 60-second qualifying, do round heats again, the dash pole, 100 lap alphabet soup eliminators, and 150 lap main event nonstop. The rest of these races, other than the Midwestern, are non-battery stop races. It's just go for it.
Send it.
All right, Ryan. Just a little trivia question as we go into race number 4. What does RC and RC Underground even stand for? Do you know?
Radio controlled.
Wrong. Well, at least it's wrong in December because it's going to stand for road course. Yes, we are bringing a road course to the RC Underground, and people are probably going, what?
You're gonna expect me to go right?
So yes, it will be a road course. I went to a road course aficionado, had him design this. Now, the track area is going to be much bigger than what we are used to running. And so we are actually going, if you're driving, you're going to be driving from the other side. So basically what we call the alleyway that takes you towards the back area into the pit area. We're actually going to drive from that side because the track is going to be much bigger.
Yeah, we can't turn right. Yeah, we gotta go left. We gotta go left.
This is the layout of the track. If you can kind of see it on there.
I need to screenshot this. I need to start.
It's a lot of left. There's really only one right. But think of it. I think the cream's gonna rise to the top, and we'll do shows as we get closer to this one. Obviously in December. That's why it's called Holiday Havoc, because this is gonna be havoc.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Race line is gonna narrow down to about 4.5 feet from 6. You're gonna have that big sweeper coming out. People are gonna love that. They're gonna come out of that corner, and you ran a big track.
I just don't get it. Dude, we're friends, and I figured you'd like share this with me, and this is the first time I'm seeing this. I mean,
yes, because I wanted the shock value for the show.
I don't know. This is
because I know you don't like road courses, so
no,
we had to throw a road
I go to
course in.
trackside, and I just like, I don't off-road course. No, thank you. What's that turning right and jumping stuff? What?
Well, I can guarantee you, we're not going to be jumping. There will be no jumping.
Jumps
so
would
don't
be
worry
kind
about
of cool, but yeah, this is going to be a challenge, I think, for everyone because darn near everyone I know just turns left. So,
contraire, my friend, you've got Jake Bolter.
That's true.
Steve
He's a
Clark.
drifter. Yeah.
I say the minute Steve Clark sees this layout, he's going to build it in his basement. He's going to start practicing. Steve Clark is
he's got a track in his basement.
George Murray has run a lot of road course over his career. I think it's going to be just like the Chicagoland race when you had a guy SVG or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
and whooped them. This is going to allow these road course masters to really show their stuff, and I will not be surprised to see guys. And like you said, you got so many new drivers coming. We don't know if they have
Yeah.
some road course experience.
Yeah.
Or even if they've done dirt, like you said, some of the jumping and the buggies and stuff like that. Hey, that might transpire. But look at that, like coming out, you're going to have that big sweeper that's going to take you all the way around. But then, where do you get off the gas to line yourself up for that big right-hander? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. All right, race number 5.
Underground Invasion.
Underground Invasion. Again, we got to give all these races a theme. So that's going to be the theme. I'm telling you.
Is Scott? Wait. Scott Bloomquist is coming. That's it. I know it. Bloomer's coming to this race.
Bloomer's coming. First we have Murph Dog. Now we get Bloomer.
Who we getting, Bloomer? Yes,
Wouldn't that be
sir.
crazy. That would be something.
That would be rad.
I'm telling you, of all the trophies that are coming from MX Trophies, this one is outrageous. This is this is going to be fun. We got some ideas for that day that are going to be fun. So yeah, this kind of a traditional race. It'll be a 150 lapper. Same thing. We'll do around heats. We got the eliminators. We got the pole dash. We got qualifying. Picking your heats, all that stuff. With a 150 lap main event, should be a lot of fun.
This would be a great race to add in the smoke machine. That's where my head goes with it. Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying.
And some.
I've always wanted
and
you to
some
do
lighting.
a smoke machine, and so yeah, if you can make that happen, that'd be great.
All right, we're gonna look at the next one coming up here. Race number 6, Battle in the Basement returns. It was a great race last year. So looking for another one again. Kind of a traditional race, 150 lap main event, pole dash, heat races, dual round eliminators, all that fun stuff. With a 150 lap main event to get you to victory lane. So what's it going to take in that one? I mean, you got 3 races in a row that are going to be 150 lap main events, so you can kind of get a mojo going, right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? And I will say that when you're racing at the underground, you get to do it once a month, right? I mean, that's kind of the deal. Nobody really gets practice laps or in between, right? It's not like we can there's no open practice. So that's going to be the fun in it is everybody's going to have the same amount of track time throughout the year. It's going to take some time to develop, the skill again, right? And the timing of the corners and when to brake, when to lift and all that. So I think having those consecutive races, the 150s, are really going to allow guys to really settle in and develop rhythm. Obviously throughout the course of the day as well, but it's definitely a good thing that you're kind of setting it up that way a little bit, Dave, because you develop that rhythm. You know what to expect. But I can assure you, 150 laps. You're running a 300 milliamp hour lipo unregulated. You can do it all day long. It's a lot of fun. Those races are a blast, but they go by quick. It's amazing how many laps you can crack off within a minute, right? At 2.5 seconds a lap. So they go quick, but again, you've got the entire race day with all the heats and all of that stuff and qualifying practice. I mean, it's a full on day.
All right, so this takes us into March. We know what comes up in March.
Ooh, I know this one.
Race number 7, the Shamrock Showdown. We ran it last year, so it comes back again this year. I think people will be a little green with envy to hopefully win this one, right?
Green with envy. Don't quit your day job. No, this is an awesome race. Obviously, we can go down the road and have some green beer someplace, but this is a cool race. Again, kind of the same format. I think what's cool here too, I should point out in this picture, that's actually Todd Booker's car, which is that NOB Next Gen body, which is legal to run at RC Underground. So really cool body. I'm actually doing a few things to that car for Mr. Booker, so he'll be ready to go. Looking forward to him seeing his good-looking face again. But yeah, that's a cool body. If you guys are looking to get pretty creative.
Yeah, this is a good one too. This is Daniel at MX Trophies. He reached out to me, said, I really haven't had this much fun creating trophies in a long time. We really challenged him to dig deep and be creative. So if you're liking these posters, the trophies look completely different, but they're completely cool. Trust me, MX Trophies does a great job.
Yeah.
All right, we got 2 to go.
2 more. Whew.
2 more, yes. Race number 8, Oval Kings. No, I did not say Ovaltine. You always ask me that. Did I say Ovaltine? It's Oval Kings.
Ovaltine. Ovaltine.
Oval King.
So what do we got here, buddy?
So, Oval Kings. Well, if you remember, this is when we got surprised last year. And this is when Murph came. Murph is the defending champion of Oval Kings. If he wants to keep his crown, I think he should come back. What do you think?
I mean, I'd love to have him. Dude's an absolute riot, absolute wheelman. He makes everybody better. Just being around him, learning, because he's a lot like your pops, in the sense that Matt will help anybody. He's a true steward of the sport and hobby. He just looks like nothing like your dad. Sure. But yeah, I would love to have him come back. He's a heck of a dude, and I'll be poking and prodding him at Chili Bowl to have him come back up here. So yeah. that would be cool if we could do that again.
Absolutely.
And by the way,
yes, sir.
That is a great looking car on the front of that poster.
Yeah,
there.
The orange car. Yeah, the orange car looks.
No. That's my buddy Jason Walicki's car. That is a great looking car, and it's going to be set up really well. But I can't help but notice that Whip-Am car and how beautiful that looks. Oh, and by the way, yeah, it looks a little bit different on the front end. That is the Shark Alien body. Our buddy Paul Peterson from Shark Bodies created, a 1RC body. I think there might be some stuff coming down the road on that. Not too sure. He's busy doing a bunch of drag bodies and all that stuff for all those guys and getting ready for Chili Bowl. But that is a rowdy body, folks. I run it. I absolutely love it. If you're thinking about it, give it a whirl. It's a different body, but it looks good, and it performs well on the track for sure.
Yeah, and some people don't think aero matters at the underground, and Murph even said, "Oh no, it absolutely does. It absolutely does."
Yep. Yeah, no, it does. But this race is cool. Last year, obviously, we're all taken aback, right? The fact that Matt Murphy's at our track flew up special from North Carolina to come hang out with us. But what was cool is after he cleaned all of our clocks, I mean, that dude had a robe, a crown that was also presented. What was her? Did she have like a title or a name?
She was Lady Wojo of Caledonia.
Lady Wojo of Caledonia. That's what it was. She presented Matt with his crown and trophy, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. It is an awesome race, pretty prestigious, and the best part is you get your mug plastered all over Facebook and all our social media with your crown on and your cape and your staff and your trophy. It's an awesome.
And you're forgetting about the throne, and we don't make anybody sit on the toilet. We actually have a throne.
There is a throne that exists. Yeah, it's a big deal. So I mean, if you want to be the king of the castle, this is a race you got to be at, and this is the one you want to win for sure.
And that's going to bring us to race number 9, the RC Foam Oval Nationals. We're going to call out every track in the nation that's running foam. And you know this, Ryan. There's a lot of tracks that are giving it a try or did it from day one. At the Foam Oval Nationals is when you make this main event, you're going into what's called the Ron Race. And it's in honor of our buddy, Ron Peacock. And there's a lot of people out there who know Ron, know his story, know his background, and we thought it was just fitting that we honor him with the last race of this season, one of the biggest ones. I think it's going to be one of our biggest turnouts of the year too, and that's again is going to be on May 18th. The weather will be great. Drivers can travel from other states if they don't want to fly. It should be great weather to be driving, and they'll all converge on the RC Underground. And I think the extra motivation will be to make it into the Ron Peacock main event.
Yeah, that will be a race that, if you know him, and it doesn't matter where you are, that's going to be a race you're going to want to attend if you can. Just again, a fantastic man, one who, for the One RC community, he deserves his own race, just for what he's done within the community. Is not only selling cars at a great value and always taking care, but just being an amazing human being and somebody who is a huge supporter of the show, supporter of us, and a lot of other friends that we have in the community. Him and Charlie and Gary Ingram, and it's amazing how that man and these toy cars all brought us together. So it'll be cool to have a race that brings us all together.
Yeah, and I think everybody will really be chomping at the bit, coming in with a little bit extra, trying to make that race. And could you imagine winning that race and be able to have that trophy and know that represents Ron? And, the Ron Peacock story is the #1 episode on RC Underground Radio.
Yeah, it should be. He's a hell of a human being, and one that should never be forgotten.
Well, buddy, that's all I got. But we covered a lot in a short period of time. We got a lot to look forward to. This is what happens when when we shut ourselves down for 90 days. We have way too much time to think about this stuff, and we come out of the gate heavy, dude. We are ready to rock and roll.
I mean, now we're like on YouTube and all this stuff. Now we're doing this stuff. We're gonna have, this is crazy to me. And it's only gonna get better. I'm excited. It's just a cool release of all the races. We know what's upcoming. We have dates now, which I'm sure we'll be dropping on our social media feeds, which is going to be awesome. But there is so much to talk about and dive into in future episodes. We've all had a lot going on this summer, and I'm excited to talk about it and our plans, moving forward.
Absolutely. Like we said, it's been our pleasure to do this for the RC Underground Raceway, but we kick back, boy. I'm looking forward, buddy, to pulling the belts tight again with you, strapping on the helmets, and going to town. We're going to have some fabulous guests. I think we're going to have some shockers, and hopefully coming right out of the gate. So this show will air September 4th. A week from Monday will be our first RC Underground radio show. Looking forward to that. We will be posting on Mondays now, early in the morning. They'll be ready for you for breakfast on Monday mornings or for your ride into work. And then racing, as we said, starts September 30th at the RC Underground. The Midwestern, now it's 400. This is the longest running race, but it's also going to be the longest race of our season. Anything hit you, buddy? Any last minute thoughts on the season or anything else?
I'm just super excited. I know we're going to have a packed house all the time there. That's what's so cool about it. We're going to be kicking off season 2 of RC Underground Radio. I'm very much looking forward to that. Just all the knowledge I've gained in the last 90 days of, being out and about. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think you've put together just a killer season ahead at the Underground. So that's going to be super fun. I'm looking to hopefully bring home some of that hardware because MX Trophies does just a bang up job. I do want to do one thing. Our Mr. Worldwide, Scotty Ernst, was out in the UK promoting a race, calling a race. He was in a pretty serious car accident, banged up pretty bad. So Scotty, we wish you a speedy recovery. He's going to be okay, but he's a little banged up, and we just wish you the best. So get better soon, buddy, and can't wait to see you in a few months.
great fitting ending. It's somebody who's so important to the RC community, and here we are talking RC, right? Yeah. All our best wishes to a quick recovery, Scotty. We're thinking about you. All right, my friend. That's going to wrap it up for this. This is kind of fun, huh? I mean,
yeah, I like not having to smell you. It's nice being in completely separate spaces, you know? I'm kidding. No, this has been a blast, and I think what's cool about this format, Dave, this is going to give us the ability to just do more, you know, and hopefully increase the frequency too of shows, because we always have a ton to talk about. There's a lot going on in the community here, and racing in Wisconsin and abroad. So this format's going to be great.
yeah, and smell comes from a guy who openly said on social media that he doesn't change his underwear. And with that, we will end the show tonight. Hey, Ryan, as always, thanks for being on. Cannot wait, buddy. Cannot wait to fire this thing back up. So,
yeah,
to everybody
let's do
listening, thanks for taking time. Listen to a couple knuckleheads talk about toy cars. We had a great time. We're really looking forward to it. Like you said, we're going to be on YouTube as well as on Spotify and all the other major platforms on Apple Podcasts and such. So make sure you ring that bell. Make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends and neighbors and even people you don't like, because it's a good thing to get back at them with.
Amen.
All right, everybody have a great night. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.